Hey guys, what's up? Brandon here. And wow, PAX Prime was last weekend. The whole experience was just amazing. Before I go any further, if you haven't been to PAX or Gamescom or like one of these big gaming conventions before, you need to do it. You owe it to yourself to attend one of these big conventions because I didn't really know what to expect. I'd been to QuakeCon a few times, but when I got to PAX and saw the size of this event, it was just unbelievable. It was overwhelming, just the sheer amount of stuff that was in the convention. It spanned multiple floors. It was massive, and there was so much stuff to see and do, from hardware to PC games to peripherals to console games to handheld games to tabletop card games. I mean, just seriously, anyone that enjoys gaming of any sort could get something out of an event like PAX. And like I said, if you haven't been to one, you need to save up your money and go to one of these because it really is an awesome experience. Now, I'll talk more about PAX as we move through this commentary, but real quick, I want to talk about the gameplay that you're watching here. This is a game called Forge, and if you listen to the KB Mod podcast, you probably heard us talking about it some this past week. This is a game that Dan and I saw for the first time at PAX. We walked up to their booth, and we hadn't heard of this game before, but we sat down to play, and all of a sudden we were hooked, because Dan and I both used to play World of Warcraft. And I used to enjoy PvPing in World of Warcraft, but there were always some annoyances, and it always came down to gear disparity or class imbalances, or just annoyances. General annoyances with who would win a PvP battle, and it rarely ever came down to individual skill. So Forge takes World of Warcraft PvP and I think makes it better by removing all the negative aspects of MMO PvP. So there's no grinding, there's no leveling, there's no gear. It's just class-based combat in a battleground setting. Doesn't matter whether you're playing for a day, a month, or a year. Whenever you join a match, everyone's on the same level. And so if you're going up against someone in a 1v1 and they're the same class as you, and you both have full health, it's literally just going to come down to who is the better player, who knows that class better, who is doing better combos, who understands the abilities better. That's what it's going to come down to, not things like gear and how much time you've invested in your character. And as you can see, you also have to aim your abilities, which is a pretty big divergence from traditional MMO PvP, where you just click on an enemy or tab target, and then once you have them targeted, your abilities lock on from there. Forge feels somewhat similar to Smite in that you have to aim your abilities in order to hit the enemy, but there's a little bit of aim assist, a little bit of give, so it's not quite like a first-person shooter or anything, but it still feels very dependent on skill and tactics. Now, we learned at PAX that Forge was actually a Kickstarter project, but as of a few days ago, they were not successful in hitting their funding goal, but you can see that they've put a lot of work into the game, and they're still going to release it. And so after their Kickstarter ended, they just opened up direct pre-orders on their website. So I'll put that link below if you're interested in pre-ordering it. But for $15, you can get a copy of the game, and you get access to the alpha and then the closed beta when it goes live, supposedly later this month. Or you can also pay $30, which gets you like some extra skins and any additional content that they release for the next year. So it seems like a pretty good deal, and I definitely think that this will be a title worthy of $15 upon release. So I've gone ahead and pre-ordered it. I've probably already gotten $15 of enjoyment just out of the few matches that I've played in the alpha. Anyway, enough about Forge. We got to play several other good PC games at PAX, and the two that really stood out to me were Hawken and Special Forces Team X. So Hawken is the free-to-play mech shooter that's coming out in December, and I got a chance to play it for the first time and really enjoyed my time with it. I haven't played a mech shooter since I was a kid, really, and the feeling is just much different from first person shooters that are out there because you're piloting these large mechanical beasts, and I think the game does a good job of making you feel like you really are piloting this machine. There feels like there's good variety. You have light, medium, and heavy mechs. You've got a bunch of different weapons and kind of grenades and rockets. So the gameplay has a lot of variety, and it feels really good so far. It looks good. The levels are kind of gritty and industrial. So for an alpha, I was really impressed. I think my only outstanding question is what the free-to-play model is going to look like, and I think they're going to be smart in how they implement it. But again, that's really my only question about the game. I think other than that, it's primed for success. Now on to Special Forces Team X from Zombie Studios. This was a game where I didn't really know what to expect going into it because I don't have a lot of experience with third-person shooters like Gears of War and that sort of thing. But the first thing I noticed upon playing it was that the game itself just has a lot of personality. You know, it's got that awesome cel-shaded art style, it's got the third-person over-the-shoulder camera perspective, and the game just doesn't take itself too seriously. The art style and the blood and everything is really over the top, and it makes for a really fun experience with your friends. It's a lot easier to pick up and just play for a match or two than Blacklight is, in my opinion. And so I think once it comes out, it's going to be well worth the $15 or $20 price tag it's going to have. We also got to play Recoil and Primal Carnage and Marvel Heroes, and there are just so many good PC games on the horizon. I don't even have time to talk about all of them, but maybe we'll talk about some more of them at a later time. Anyway, this gameplay is just about finished, so as always guys, thanks for watching, and I will see you next time.